Welcome to this episode of Q&A with Liturgy Man. I'm Taylor Burton-Edwards, Liturgy Man with Discipleship Ministries of the United Methodist Church. I'm your apportionment dollars at work to help you strengthen worship and the understanding of worship where you are. Today's question comes to us from the Reverend Kim Isley of the Holston Conference, who wonders why there was a shift in the language, the former language of the Apostles' Creed, from "He descended into hell" to "He descended to the dead." Why that change in the language from the older versions of the Apostles' Creed to the one that is widely used in our churches to this day? It's one that was developed by the English language liturgical consultation as part of an ecumenical effort to come to common words for the Apostles' Creed. Well, the reason for that shift from "He descended into hell" to "He descended to the dead" is not a shift in theology, actually, at all, as far as the word is concerned. It's actually a shift in usage of the word hell. In the 16th century, which is the first time that we have any liturgical texts put into English, in the 1549 Book of Common Prayer by Thomas Cranmer, we have the translation of this Greek word that shows up both in the Creed and in its predecessor in Ephesians 4:9. He descended into, in Greek, katotera, which means the lower parts or the realm of the dead. That's what the word means in Greek. So it's the realm of the dead. Now, in English, in the 16th century, the best single-word translation for the realm of the dead that was extant, that was in wide use, was the simple word hell. That's what that word had meant in Celtic languages. That's what it meant in Germanic languages. It referred primarily, in its primary meanings, not to a place of eternal punishment, but simply to the realm of the dead. So "He descended into hell" actually made a lot of sense as a way of translating that Greek word, which has that very same meaning in the 16th century. Now, between the 16th century and the 20th century, we've had quite a number of changes in the usage of that word. Changes that were the result, indeed, of theological shifts and different kinds of movements that came along, particularly the rise of what has been referred to as hellfire and damnation preaching, which you start to see in the First Great Awakening, made most famous by Jonathan Edwards in his sermon about the spider dangling over the flames of hell. But that usage of that term carries a lot of extra baggage that was not there when the original translations were being made into English from Greek and Latin precedents in the 16th century. So by the time you get to the late 18th century, that's there. Prior to that, it wasn't. Meanwhile, in English, in England itself, the official Book of Common Prayer remained that of 1662. And if you look at the 1662 Book of Common Prayer, it says, "He descended into hell." It's hell with a lower case, and that's what signifies that it's referring to that more generic understanding of the realm of the dead. Fast forward to the 20th century, as the mid-20th century, after Vatican II, when Protestants and Catholics are working together ecumenically to develop common translations for a variety of things that we can all understand across English. Because of all this additional baggage added to that word, and the sense that if you put it in the Creed, it would be understood in the capitalized sense, referring to going to hell or being judged and sent to hell at the end of time, which is not what the word meant in Greek, not what it means in the New Testament, and not what it meant in the Apostles' Creed. The decision was made to go with another simple word that would stand in for several more. Rather than saying "He descended into the lower parts" or "He descended to the realm of the dead," simply to say "He descended to the dead," with the understanding that the dead is a reasonable way to talk about this sense of the grave, the Sheol in Hebrew, or simply the lower parts, katotera in Greek. So that's the reason for the translation. It was a shift in usage of the original term that was used in English over time. Not trying to move away from the Greek text, but actually trying to capture what the Greek text was originally saying. Hope this has been helpful. Remember, you can always contact me, worship@liturgyfolks.com, through UMC Worship Facebook group, or drop a line on this page, and perhaps your question or comment will become the basis for a future episode of Q&A with Liturgy Man. May the peace of Christ be always with you.